Now, speaking of sketch comedy, you were a part of obviously one of the most iconic shows. You know, if you could talk about how did you get connected with In Living Color and what was your role?
Yes. So, as I mentioned, David Allen Greer was a friend of mine, and I had been doing like a late night sketch comedy review on stage in Los Angeles at that time. And I had a writing partner, and we were doing sketches for in front of live audiences. And David and I had stayed in touch, and In Living Color started as what's called a mid-season replacement. So if the network, in this case Fox, dropped a show like at the middle of the year, like around the holidays, they would have some backup shows that they would put in that same time slot, and that was In Living Color. And it came on, and it took off. I mean, it was just an immediate hit, like nobody had ever seen anything like it. But then, so Keenan Wayans, I think, he sort of cleared house after that first half season of the writing staff. And David called me and he said, "Hey, they're looking for writers. You should submit some sketches." So my writing partner, and I went off and wrote a bunch of stuff, and we turned it in. And Keenan Ivory Wayans was like, "Yeah, okay." He goes, "Come in and pitch." So came up with a whole bunch of new stuff and pitched it to him. And he goes, "All right." He was like, "Okay, come back again." And we came back a third time and pitched him. We were pitching like 20 ideas. I mean, we really wanted this job. And eventually he said, "Okay, these guys, they're, 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 they've got a lot of ideas." So he brought us onto the show. And yeah, man, I'm grateful for that. It was a real blessing. And man, what an experience that was.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm sure the viewers was thankful as well because y'all dropped some of the most infamous skits. I was checking out your profile. They said that you was a part of the Fire Marshal Bill skit. If you could talk about that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So my writing partner Adam and I used to do, we just do all sorts of weird, sick shit together, and we had this like burn victim sketch where they were really afraid of somebody had a birthday cake, and the person was really freaked out because they were a burn victim, and we were doing it. And Jim Carrey walked by the room, and he goes, "What are you guys doing?" And so we told him, and he goes, "Oh, that'd be great. Let's work on that." So we just sort of ran around the idea for a while, and I think he said, "Oh, what if he's a fire marshal?" So we took off with that, and we actually, I think we got like a VHS, like an old VHS camera, and shot it and took it into Keenan with Jim playing Fire Marshal Bill. We just shot it in our writers' room, and Keenan was like, "That's funny. Let's do that." So Jim took off with that idea, and yeah, we did a bunch of those.
Yeah, yeah. Fire Marshal Bill was off the hook, man.
I just noticed I was watching the NBA Finals, and Shaq just did a Fire Marshal Bill bit on that Inside the NBA.
Oh wow! Big shout out to Shaq and the Inside NBA. I heard it's their last season, man.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's a funny show.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Now I can ask you a little bit more. Now working with Jim Carrey at that time, and then seeing how he took off. I mean, what was that like looking back?
Yeah, I gotta say, it was just amazing because that cast was so good. They just everybody was so talented, and the policy was the writers' doors were always open, and Keenan really encouraged the cast to go in and just try and improvise stuff with writers and work up some ideas. And so we just got to work with, you know, all the Wayans family and Tommy Davidson and David and Jim Carrey and Kelly Cofield. And it was just fabulous, really. Uh, and it was a hit right away, and it just felt so revolutionary because it really brought hip hop culture into mainstream American living rooms. It was really, I mean, Keenan was a visionary, and he nailed it, and the timing was right. So it was an exciting show to be part of, for sure.